What if I told you that God isn't some old man coming from the sky or a distant place? Or God isn't some omnipresent deity watching over you? What if God is everything? What if God is the air you breathe, the dog in your local hood, the thoughts in your mind, or even the stars in the sky? All part of an infinite, divine substance? This is the radical idea of Spinoza, presented by Spinoza's God. Let's explore it today. Here, I am your presenter, your beloved Philosophical Tetsu. Can I say I am your beloved? Does it sound good? I hope so. But I hope my reels are quite engaging. After a lot of time, I'm making long format of videos. I took a brief break from long format of videos, but from now on I will be trying to be consistent. I always say this, but I cannot commit to the things I say. But let's jump into the philosophy of Spinoza. So, who was Spinoza? Before we talk about Spinoza's God, we have to know some backgrounds about who was Spinoza. Baruch Spinoza was a 17th century philosopher, a contemporary to one of the renowned philosophers, Rene Descartes, one of the finest philosophers for establishing rationalism. And we also can say Spinoza was a rationalist as well, and also kind of controversial thinkers of his time. He was excommunicated by his Jewish community of Amsterdam for his unorthodox views. Why? Because Spinoza's ideas about God challenged the very foundation of traditional religion. Now, Spinoza didn't actually reject a God. Instead, he gave us a new way to understand the divine, one that continues to inspire, confuse, and provoke even today. As we know, that traditional religion is very much orthodox about its ideology about God, and they don't want to change their ideologies. As like other people like Galileo and people, Spinoza was also socially almost outcasted. But if we start talking about Spinoza's concept of God, you will be understanding that it is one of the most mathematically substantial evidence for God. Now, for Spinoza, God isn't a personal deity. God isn't someone who intervenes the world. God isn't someone who dictates you what to do. Instead, God is what Spinoza calls a substance of human existence and a necessary substance. This might sound abstract, but stick with me. I will be analyzing it a bit deeper from now on. I talked about substance. Now, substance, according to Spinoza, is that which exists in itself and is conceived through itself. Now, this might sound a bit confusing, but in simpler terms, it's the fundamental reality that doesn't depend on anything else. God doesn't depend on anything else. Everything else, nature, people, emotion, galaxies, are just modes or expressions of this one substance. So we can say nature is the God. And famously, Spinoza quotes this line in his one of the most renowned books, Ethics, saying, God is the immanent, not the transient cause of all things. This means God is within everything, not outside of it. Spinoza's God is nature itself, or he maybe quotes it like Due sive natura, God is nature, or God or nature in Latin translation. It reminds me why Swami Vivekananda said, Jibe prem kore jei jon, sei jon se biche ishwar. That means there is a God inside every living being, and serving the humanity, serving that person, serving that being is the highest form of serving your Lord. And actually, Spinoza's idea of pantheism is somehow inspired by the Hindu Vedanta philosophy. I not will be saying that Spinoza took it from Hindu philosophy, because back then when Spinoza existed, the Upanishads or the Vedantas were not that much famous in Western philosophy. After 17th century, it became famous. After Schopenhauer's translation, after other philosophers, it became famous. So we can say that Schopenhauer, Nietzsche, they might have taken substances from Hinduism and Buddhism, but Spinoza, Descartes, they might not have taken it. Their idea of pantheism was completely exclusive to themselves. Now, Spinoza inspired many people. In the world of intellectualism, if you ask that what is your take on theism and atheism, most of the people will be saying, I believe on Spinoza's God. From Carl Sagan, Einstein, and many of the infamous people who delivered so many important equations in the world of astrophysics, science, and mathematics. They believe on Spinoza's God, because Spinoza's God is an interesting take. Whenever people get into a debate of theism versus atheism, it is very important that someone shows the middle ground. What is the middle ground? We all know the middle ground is agnosticism, and I promote agnosticism a lot on my page, if you guys know. But Spinoza, I cannot say he was a proper agnostic as well. More accurately, what I can say, he promoted pantheism, or the idea that God or divinity is nature, which is not accurately agnosticism but very close to agnostic ideas from where the modern agnosticism like shaped. For example, Albert Camus, he was an agnostic person, and this kind of agnostic ideologies most probably came out of pantheism. Now pantheism itself came out of Vedic philosophy, because Vedic philosophy was the one of the oldest philosophies which talked about, not one of the oldest, I will be quoting it, the oldest philosophy which talked about nature is the god. That's why we found that people who believe on Vedic civilization, archaeologically as well, we have seen that they being worshipping the nature, the natural elements. Also in Zoroastrianism we can see that, in Egyptian society we can see that, but most probably Vedic civilization was the first one to promote pantheism. Now Spinoza argued that this infinite substance, or what he calls God, has infinite attributes as well. Two of these attributes that we humans can understand are thought and the extension of our thoughts. Just let me take my coffee. Thought represents the mental and intellectual realm of human existence, right? And extension of our thought refers to the physical world, the space we occupy, the physical space we occupy, our mental capabilities, how they react to the physical world. Okay, so these aren't some different or separate realms. These two ways are looking in the same reality, so these are reflected from the same reality of the God. Imagine a coin. One side is a thought and one other side is the extension, but it's overall the coin, na? So whatever we think or however we react to it, that is all a substance of the coin. So we can say our thoughts and our expressions are two subsets, and the cosmos or the whole divinity is the local set, the bigger set. So this is how mathematically we can prove the existence of God. Died, but Spinoza's ideas are not dead yet. Yes, Spinoza's ideas were so groundbreaking in his time and have influenced countless thinkers like us. Like Einstein, infamously admired by Spinoza's God. Many people disagreed to Spinoza as well, but that doesn't mean that we don't have to respect his unifying perspective on God. A God who is not above us, or a God who is not below us. A God who is within and around us, as the very fabric of existence. So, what do you believe about Spinoza? What is your ideology of Spinoza's God? What is your take on whether it is right or wrong, or you cannot take a proper side? Just comment down below. Every comment, I appreciate that, other than the aggressive ones, because we appreciate thinkers here. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. You learned something new, because we are learners. We have to continuously learn something. And let's conclude this video for today. And follow my Instagram below, because I hope you guys enjoy my video on my Instagram account and my YouTube as well. So thank you for the all support you all show me. We will be very soon crossing the 70,000 mark, so advanced thank you to all of you. Now wrap this video for today. Me, Philosophical Tetsu, signing off.